Two. Oh, Bed Grower one. Dan for Girlie's got one on there.
That's a big boy bong.
That's a cool
Cheers,
one.
everybody, and welcome to your favorite Michigan Bros Grove Show, episode 272. What's going on, guys? We're just showing off some glassware over there with a shitload of stickers on there.
That's pretty sweet. I was admiring that. Oh, Astro Charlie on the.
Yeah, Astro Charlie. Yeah.
Who's the third one down? What's that one? It said something Phantom. I don't know that one. Phantom Fire Genetics. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Med Grower there.
Yep.
Nice.
What's the one above Med Grower? I can't see that one.
I know. I'm trying to let it zoom in.
Swampy.
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 I'm gonna read it. It's hard to read. Yeah, Swampy something. But yeah.
That's cool, man. I like that.
Stickers, and I got this bucket too. I don't know if you can see that, but a bunch of stickers on this bucket here too.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
yeah, the Bro Show's on there in red.
No, there's
Yeti, nice.
yeah.
Oh, I see.
Bilbo.
Shepherd Fire.
There's Spartan.
Yeah.
And Canico.
Still.
Tiki Man.
Oh yeah. Terry.
KZ Kush's MCMA Suck It guy. I like it.
Yeah, fuck it, yeah. Oh yeah. Some good ones.
Oh yeah.
How often do you use that thing? I got one. It's got to be a similar height. You know, it's the bowl I've got for it is too big, so it always gets clogged, and it kind of drives me insane. But I love hitting a big ass bong like that, especially if those ice cubes in there.
Probably need to bust it out a little more often. We don't really use it too much, but I don't even know if it has water in it. I don't think it even has water in it, so maybe we'll have to bust it out today. When Terry gets here, we'll put some of Davy Hayes stuff in it. We got some samples from him recently. We'll go over those when Terry gets back here, and got some samples of some different Covert Genetics and Med Grower stuff, and there's actually some Adam Dunn and James Loud collab in there too. So should be pretty good stuff. Stay tuned.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna ask about pre-rolls because, and I'll ask Spartan too, but I know he's not getting pre-rolls from. What the fuck was that?
How I make my pre-rolls.
Oh, I thought that was a pre-roll. The whole thing. Yeah, I thought it was a rocket ship rolled rocket ship.
Oh, that would be cool. Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Something straight out of Pineapple Express or something like that, But in any case, I'll ask Spartan too, because I think everyone's got a preference, and I know Spartan's not going out and buying them, but pre-rolls, we'll call them joints or whatever. You can call them pre-rolls, you can call them doinks, there's 5 billion different names for a rolled cigarette style. Right. I can't even describe it without using 13 different words. But do you guys have a preference on the style of joint you smoke? Whether it's like a cone, it's like a hand rolled 1 gram, or maybe you like the big old, I don't know, a donut, or just a 2 gram doink, or and everybody, what's everybody's preference on that? Because I got my own opinion, but I want to hear yours first.
I was just thinking about this actually the other day. I like using my cone. I like using this because I feel like I don't waste as much. Sometimes when I'm using the even the hand rolled style one, when I sprinkle the weed on top, some of it may fall off or whatever. But I guess you can always put it on a tray and save it that way. But I don't know. I like the cones. I like the filter on the end, and I just like how it gets bigger at the top and narrower at the bottom. I suppose it less weed in your mouth, but just something I've always done since I've started doing cones. I used to get the big 800 pack of cones, and I would people would always ask me, hey, can you make me a couple pre-rolls? And I would sell them $5 or 10, depending on what I put in it, but give them away, whatever, stuff like that. But I don't know, I'm a big cone advocate. I usually have I have these right here that comes in a 50 pack for $15 of these that my local smoke shop sells.
My favorite size, 1 1/4 inches.
1 1/4. that's what my
That's
device makes too. So
that's an important thing there, Spartan. Is when we're talking cones, one of the beautiful things about it is really consistency. Like when you're buying pre-rolled pre-rolls, you're getting the same amount in each cone that you're going to get. Just about. I mean, it's going to be within probably a hundredth or a couple hundredths of a gram, pretty consistently across the board. If you're, just doing them, rolling them yourself. Let's put it that way. And on top of that, they got so many different sizes. I mean, you can get like quarter-ounce cones out there. I'm pretty sure. What's going on, Red? How we doing? We're just talking about our favorite style of smoking joints, whether it's like a cone or a hand-rolled, a 2-gram doink, a donut, or whatever it is.
I didn't realize there was that big of a difference between a joint and a cone.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah,
Like the way it burns.
I didn't realize that.
Well,
I didn't refer to a joint as a joint, but like personally, when I roll, I'll roll more of a cone shape because easier to roll and packs more. But I didn't realize that there's actually like that big of a difference. Like I've always just known that as a joint. I know I've packed cones, and so I do realize the shape difference, but I just didn't realize there was that big of a difference in like the smoking reason.
And I'm like in full agreement with Nuttree. I'm the same way with what he said. I love the cone, and I love the tip too. And the glass tips are really fucking nice.
Yeah,
they're reusable. You can wash them and stuff. But so yeah, I'm with that. I'm just gonna echo what he said. Those cones. Yeah, I like cones.
it's good to have the backup if you run out of cones or the dogs eat these cones, or something. Because I've had those come up missing where the dogs got up on the table and got luckily nothing in them or anything like that. But yeah, it's good to have backup too.
Ruben's the one that's stealing the fucking full and half-lit joints over there, but
you can't leave them around.
Yeah.
It makes me worried about a roach I left downstairs this morning. As a matter of fact, I may have to make sure.
And it's gone.
I've been checking the same spot all day. Like, of course, I haven't picked it up. It's just been checking on it. It's not smokable. It's just there. I need to pick it up, throw it away. Go get rid of that.
That's
right by the back door where it needs to be.
Right, ready to go.
Dude, it's been beautiful out. It's been beautiful outside. So outside has been my smoking spot, and I don't have ashtrays or anything out there because Ruben gets into them. I had a nice sand bucket out there, and that thing would get dug up, and he'd be all happy, And
Oh Jesus!
sand everywhere. Ruben's bouncing around like Tigger off of his tail, doing, 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 doing. And yeah, so I smoke outside now. And
So you gotta switch to some. So you gotta switch more indica leaning stuff, is what you're saying.
Oh, not for me. No.
No, but I'm saying for Ruben.
Ruben needs lots of indica. Ruben needs chamomile. Ruben needs like Valium. Needs more intense.
You gotta grow a bunch of poppies out there for him to get into.
Ruben needs to get into the poppies. He's a fun dog. No, he's cool. He actually, Thankfully, I don't think he'll get into it. I'll go take care of that doobie when I get off the show here. Now that I'm thinking about it. It's been exciting, man. We've already gotten a lot going on in the outdoor garden. We can get into it. Cheers, guys.
What's your? Did you say cones?
I don't want to change the
I
topic.
love rolling cones.
Yeah. What's your preferred red? When it comes to do you like joints, cones? Big fat?
I mean, this is my go-to. Right? Can you see?
Oh,
It's inch and a quarter.
Joints.
Yeah, doobie. Generally roll them without a filter. Mainly just because I go through filter. I have a deck of cards here that doesn't have. It's not a complete deck. I've been using them for many, many things. Utilitarians are these. These things are great scrapers because they don't really cause a whole lot of static, so they don't get you don't push all of your trichomes across they're also not good for static tech if you're looking for that. So anyway, but they're great. You have like 8 of these things can balance out something that's uneven. You got like an uneven, like I don't know. You got
shims.
Shim. You can use a deck of cards for shims. They're great for shims. You can flick them across the room for boredom. You know, just
With that,
whatever
like,
into a hat. if
Getting
you want.
people's
Ninja
attention.
Star.
Try to get it into the wall. It's not going to go into the wall. It'll go into a hat if you want. Anyways, it's very
Sometimes
aerodynamic. I was actually using one earlier today to scrape and collect lemon basil seeds. So it works great for lemon basil seed collection. My little sister-in-law came running over and she was like, "What you doing with that? Why are you using a card?" And I'm like, "It's a tool now that it's not a complete deck." So she's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Yeah." So we did that whole exchange, and I don't know why I'm talking about a card. Anyways, so I like using so I can slice, I can give it a little snip right about here, maybe cut it in half and get a handful of tips off of a single card, let alone a deck of cards.
Dude, I use a stack of index cards, and I just fold a little tip off, tear it, and then fold it up.
Index cards, yeah. That's
I was on that train for a while. That's a good one.
Yeah, those are just paper enough. I really dug the Raw had this 420 plus 80 but it was a book of 500 tips, and I'd get that plus I think I'd get like a 500. I think they'd have like a 500 pack.
Yeah.
It looked like a little notebook. Yeah, and I used to get those all the time. My local smoke shop carried them, and and it was nice because they were perforated. They were the right size.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the tips that have a whole bunch of perforations,
Yeah.
to like bend them. You know, I just like to roll it up and use that as a tip. But
You're not making artwork every time you do it.
I like to fuck around and just make a little zigzag sometimes because it does catch some weed in there. But generally, I just roll it up. But honestly, man, it takes up so much space in the inch and a quarters, and I do like cones. I feel like I can roll up a doobie faster than I can pack a cone. I don't need to find like a legit cone packer. I like to
All right,
tap.
YouTube below. We're gonna start, and you guys are gonna see who can roll a cone with a cone packer.
Oh no, I don't want to do the speed thing. Because I mean, for me, I can roll a joint faster than I can pack a cone. You know.
Yeah. Red's not saying that he can.
I'm not saying one's faster than the
Yeah,
other.
he's not saying that he can roll a joint faster than Nut Tree can pack a cone. He's saying he can roll a joint faster than he can pack a cone.
Not very speed racing down there. You gotta watch out for him. It's fast fingers.
I've not gotten the hang of being able to reliably roll the joint with the cannabis in it. So I always roll the cone first, just around the filter, and then I pack the cone. So I would not be faster than either of you because I've got both steps to do.
And I'd be the slowest out of all you. Something is wrong with these fat fingers, and they just don't work on that small of a scale. So I don't.
Me either.
Yeah, I find I get more of a consistent burn if I can roll a joint than pack a cone. Even though I can pack a pretty consistent burning cone, they end up doing something with that like divergence or convergence. I don't know whichever one it is, but it does a little something with the resin and really restricts.
I'll tell you exactly what the
You
problem
want
is.
tight pack at the stem.
Crutch is key.
Yeah, and then a little bit less loose, more of a loose pack towards the end.
He's right, but also quit
Wait a
growing
minute,
such
wait a minute, back up. What did you say? What was that?
Sticky. The ring, what is that resin ring thing called
Yeah,
around
the
there?
cube,
It just
the cube.
it
Go around
sticks.
that
I
ring of
get it on
fire
my
like Johnny
beard.
Cash over
It
here.
gets everywhere.
Are we complaining about resinous cannabis? Is that what
I
we're
like
doing right
I like the doobie. I like
How
to
are
burn
you?
the
What
doobie. I like to burn the doobie all the way down until there's like no paper left. It's just leave it on my lip.
So
And I
like
can
taste
just-
the cardboard.
I wander around the garden.
Until you're
that's-
smoking the cardboard tip. then-
No, I don't use the tip. I'm saying I don't use the doobie. I don't. It's my okay.
Oh, you don't
if
use
I'm
the tip. That's
If
right.
I'm sharing it, I generally will use a tip because it's just I don't know. It's just a totally different experience with the tip, right? Without the tip, it's my personal. It gets all slimy
need
and
to cut
slobbery.
this
It's my own personal doobie, It gets all slimy, and I like to just dangle it on my lip, and I can do the garden thing, and and I puff on it, and it goes out, and I light it.
Just the tip? You like to dangle the tip from your
Not
lip?
just the tip. Nope. I know where you're going there. Did I say, how many times did I say just the tip? Did I say it a lot? Did I already do it? did I already meander around the tip that much? That
You spent
okay.
a lot
All
of
right.
time talking about the tip.
All right. Well, yeah, leave it on the tip of the lip, and there's
Now,
a half-
okay, so
half
you
a
don't
doobie
use
there.
a filter. You don't use a filter when you're using the 1 1/4 papers.
If not if I'm rolling my own personal doobies. No. If I'm rolling some
Do you ever
straight.
roll king size? Would you use a
Yeah. I
Yeah.
like filters with king size.
When I'm rolling my own, I'll roll typically. I use the raw black king size, and
Yeah,
that's
those
like
are nice.
personal preference. Because
like
I
raw
can really
blacks.
roll it good enough for the packer I use and everything like that. But when I'm rolling a 1 1/2 or 1 1/4, and I like to use a tip every time, so I'll just roll it where the paper is like pinched a bit more on the filter, and then it's going to be a lot wider, so it's a lot more like a like a pocket rocket where it's you can fit a lot more in it, and even though it is that smaller size, because you do lose a lot when you're using a tip.
Yeah,
like that.
the cones that she rolls, the neck of the cone that's right at is about the width of a regular joint, so it doesn't get real narrow like a traditional cone, like if you use the raw cone that's already made for you.
Oh, that's nice.
Real narrow, so it's really wide at the bottom still. But then the end of it is still cone shaped, so the end of it's kind of fat, but
Yeah.
it's just cool.
I have this strange technique where so if I'm not using a tip, I roll a pretty straight cylinder of a joint. It's not really tapered at all. If I use a tip, it's more of a cone. And so I don't know if I put a little bit more. Maybe I roll a little tighter on the end where the tip is, just because I know that there's no weed there that I'm gonna. Because I don't like to roll the joint too tight. You roll it too tight, it just doesn't. You don't get any airflow, and you have a whole issue.
Yeah.
Moisture right now in our storage space is 60%. So I like that right now. I like 55, honestly, is kind of like my sweet spot for storage, but it's been so dry lately. We've been hovering in like the mid 40s. I've been really trying to wait for a nice good. It's been nice and rainy the last couple of days, and it really just kind of naturally went up. So my dehumidifier is not even running right now. So that's actually a good thing.
Go right back down. We're supposed to get snow, aren't we? In a few days?
Thursday they're talking about snow.
Oh, snow's a great thing. Great thing for spring. I'm just really happy that the ground thawed out so that I was able to get some.
I think I'm gonna wait.
motion.
Yeah, I think I'm about to wait a week, and I'm gonna direct sow some lettuces, spinach. What else did we decide?
Oh man, we went through all our seeds this weekend, put together what we had similar, and sorted out. Okay, I want to grow this. Oh, I don't even care anymore about that. I'm giving up on cantaloupe. I don't care about cantaloupe. But we got a good plan.
Chickens love it.
We got a good plan going on for.
I'm so small. Every time I've grown a cantaloupe, it's been like the size of a softball.
I'm gonna try watermelon again. I haven't had a watermelon, but I did grow cantaloupe successfully 2 years ago. I got 2 of them off the vine that were viable, and one of them I got too late. So when I cut it open, it was all mushy, and I was so disappointed. It was still the right color and everything, but just a little too mushy. And then
Did you say it was overripe, or did something get into it?
I would say that it was overripe. I let it sit for too long. Yeah, because I didn't see any blemishes on the outside at all. It was the tan color. It had just a bit of the green veining still around where I took it off of the vine, but it was.
Was the bottom fine?
I'm sorry.
Was the bottom okay too? Because one of the things I've noticed with like a lot of my melon type plants is if if the grass or something grows around it, right, and like it'll just hold that water, and like the bottom will rot out a lot quicker than you walk by and you're like, oh crap, look at this sweet watermelon. You go grab it and the bottom of it just like starts mushing in your hands. You're like, oh, okay, I left that one there too long.
I think it might have been like the brink of that, but it didn't have anything.
That wasn't
it wasn't anything that I could feel from the outside really.
Okay.
And it sound hollow, like when I tried to knock on it. So I cut it open, but it was like liquid slop almost from the seeds. and it didn't smell the greatest
Liquefied from the
either.
inside out.
So, but I did get a second one that year that I kept a more watchful eye on, and I cut it off the vine a little bit earlier. And that one was very good. So, well, not very good. I just don't realize I don't really like cantaloupe. So,
Me too. That's why I only grow them for the chickens. No one in my family likes them. It's like that and tomatoes. Tomatoes goes to sauce and whatever, but like we're not eating that many tomatoes. We can way overproduce tomatoes more than anything else in our garden.
it's so easy.
I like the little tomato, the little ones like the grapes and the cherry tomatoes. I'll go out there as I'm harvesting or as I'm gardening and just eat them out there. I like them that much.
Dude, that's me and beans.
Peas.
Peas
like snow
too.
peas.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, I could. Most of those don't even make it inside because that's my snack while I'm working. You know what I mean? Like, oh,
Maybe that's why I've been so snacky. Like I feel like I'm so snacky in the wintertime. I'm just like, oh, it's the wintertime. I'm just like going back and forth to the fridge. I'm never like satiated. You know what I mean? I could eat some eggs and ham in the breakfast, and like by lunchtime, I'm just like, oh, what the hell, man? And I don't even mean like I eat a late breakfast, you know. So like literally like an hour later, I'm like, what the fuck, you know? So and I'm snacking on chips or something, you know, and that's it. I'm not wandering around my garden eating all day, you know, like while I'm out in the garden, like working on shit. I'm not just, I will graze on, I will just make my path while I'm I got shit in my hands. Oh, a leaf. Oh, a sauropod. What up? Oh, a radish. Oh, this. A kale leaf. Oh, this kale's dying. There's aphids and shit on this kale. Oh, that's no good. Oh, there's no aphids on this part of the kale. You know, it's like just go to town all day long.
Okay, so I've never grown broccoli successfully, but he has, and he told me that you've got to watch for like worms on the inside of the broccoli.
Even when you're cooking them.
How do you prepare for that? How do you get rid of those when you harvest it?
Off, I guess. You just
What kind of worms are you talking about?
grubs.
Those little broccoli, you get these little, they look almost like inchworms, and there's small little green worms that hang out in this inner part of the crown. And when you cut it up, you really got to wash it good because
They look like part of the broccoli. Sometimes.
yeah, they're the same color as the broccoli.
Yeah.
Give it a good spray off. Like just about everything you should spray it off unless it's gonna like
But with broccoli, like the heads are so tight, you gotta literally
Damage, yeah.
cut it open. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, you might want to do that too. But I don't know if it's gonna like just if your you're gonna know if they're in there. If your florets are destroyed, they're probably. You might not always have them. I don't know if you always have to be worried about them.
Extra protein. He says.
But yeah, I mean, as long as you're cooking your broccoli, I wouldn't worry about them too much. Me personally, I'm not too worried about them. I eat the broccoli raw out in the field. I've never considered worms in my broccoli. I've just, I check them out. I look at them. I give them a little visual. My eyes are really bad too, so if I look really close, I'd probably see some shit. I just give it a quick one over, a little shake. If it needs it, maybe a one or two on my pants. Down the hatch it goes. I mean, it's a little.
I'm sure there's
as long as it doesn't break a tooth.
Oh,
I'm sure there's
like a rock,
like a veggie wash or something, like maybe a little vinegar or something. I don't know what. But there's probably some kind
vinegar is a good wash. We wash everything in vinegar. Vinegar does a good job of doing not just like killing life and stuff, but it'll also like deionize. Is that the right word? It does something to like certain pesticides and some shit that might be on your stuff that could help wash off. It does a good job at helping wash. I think Becca does one of like I think she uses maybe something like baking soda, or maybe just like some other type of sodium bicarbonate or something like that, or maybe borax. Maybe it's borax and vinegar or something. I know you don't want to mix baking soda and vinegar. Don't, because you're gonna have a volcano. You're gonna have a mess. Don't
We all
Don't do a
remember
bowl.
6th grade.
It's not those. It's not those. Yeah. So
Maybe it's the worms. They give the protein. They give the broccoli high protein content. Maybe that's why it's so high in protein.
Becca was in chat. Maybe she's still.
Cheers to Becca. How's she doing?
She's doing good, man. She's taking care of the baby lots. The baby is a feeder.
That's good news.
Growing, putting on the weight.
Yeah, big time. She
Awesome.
doesn't like a bottle at all. I mean, we've tried a
It's
few
not a-
times, but not a lot. So she likes being on Becca's life support, So it's solid, dude.
Awesome.
She's doing great. Becca's still healing. Becca's still got a long road of healing to go. So taking it super slow. She's actually getting the baby up in this ergo like baby backpack thing. I got this really awesome gift. You can, when she gets older, I'll be able to like wear her on my back and stuff with it, where you can wear her on your chest.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Becca's figured out how to use this like sling.
A ring sling.
It's just a big piece of fabric. It's a
Yeah.
huge piece of fabric, and she just wraps it. What's up, Tara? And you wrap it,
Troy,
and it
my
turns it into a carrier.
Troy, what
Yeah.
happened to Troy? Did you beat him down? What happened?
He needs
Troy turned into.
all them whole.
He's the footstool right now.
Wait a second. I
On hands and knees.
there's some kind of like Jekyll and Hyde thing.
What is he
going
doing?
on, I think is what's going on.
Yeah, he needed to take the dogs out. So we just
He
swapped.
teased us. He said you guys got some gifts from Debbie Hayes that you guys are going to go over. I'm excited to hear because
Yeah, we got
some
really, really nice gifts from him. Samples of flour of his last run. So yeah, whenever you guys are done talking, we'll talk about them.
You guys are done talking.
All right, Tara, we're done talking. Go.
That was quick. Yeah, so Debbie Hayes sent us some cuts of flour that he cured from his last run, and we got a little bit of everything, a wide variety here. So obviously I'm going to start with my favorites right off the bat, and that's the GMO backcross, and those are from Covert Genetics.
Okay, cool.
He's got a number 1 and a number 2. Big difference. The number 2, I would say the terps aren't as strong as GMO as in the number 1, and the textures when you grind it up on the number 2 is very, very, very sticky. The other one is very sticky, but this is like clumps together almost like scissor hash.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Would you call it like kinetic sand? Do you remember that?
Yeah, but no, I wouldn't call it that.
Okay.
Yeah, no. It's just more like almost like scissor hash, I would say. It's kind
That
of
like greasy.
greasy, and you can make a ball of it.
So the backcrosses, are they like feminine, like where they be like where they did a reversal? It's like they took a GMO cut.
Yeah, I'm not
by
sure.
itself? Is that what that
He's
is?
just got GMO back cross on it, and then he's got the cultivar.
I wonder what that would
I'm
be.
not sure, but I'm sure if we look on his page, he's probably got the
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
better on his page.
Found Chemical
let's see.
cookies.
Then we got this Spectral Sage. It's sage and sour crossed with Casper OG, and that's Adam Dunn and James Loud collab.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
this is
power. That's Adam Dunn.
very, very berry and kind of hazy. I haven't smoked it yet. We've got some. Troy rolled some doobies for us, so we can smoke them up here. And then we got some Primal Punch.
Were they cones?
Oh.
Yeah, they're cones. Yeah,
We were talking about that earlier.
of course we rolled cones. He does not like a regular doobie. He doesn't like to sit there and get a piece in his mouth. He's a little particular.
That's okay.
Yeah, to each their own. The next one is Whitechapel, and that's Golden Goat crossed with Jack the Ripper, and that's from Irie.
Oh,
This
that's
is
a big name.
very, very
What was the name?
citrusy, very, very citrusy, very hazy, very citrusy.
Whitechapel fans.
Let's see, and
like
then
the
we've
sound of
got
that
some early lemonberry.
Uh,
That's Las Vegas lemon skunk crossed with memberberry from Ethos. Let me grab my little bag here because I've got more in it. I took a stash with me to work, but I wanted to sample on today. I shouldn't say I took a stash. I only took one, and that was this Permanent Midnight. It's permanent marker crossed with double lemon cherry, and that's James Loud.
all right, that's interesting. That sounds good.
Yeah, and it's super interesting. I'm very, like I said, I took it with me. I smoked a little last night, and I took it with me to work today, and I really, really like it.
Well, yeah, it sounds like different too. It's like not something.
It's very different, and I wouldn't. So I've had permanent marker, but I wouldn't. I can get tones of the permanent marker. Now I've had something similar to the double lemon cherry before. Maybe a little bit, but I haven't had that, so I'm not sure where that is. But the combination of the two, I really like it. Very nice.
Nice.
So yeah, thank you so much, Dabby. And yeah, I'm gonna smoke one right now.
Here it is. GMO. I finally found that. GMO BX1 is all it says. It says it's retired. You can't get it anymore.
Huh?
Out of stock. GMO BX1 was GMO crossed to Slap and Tickle,
Slap.
which was a GMO crossed to Great Pie.
Okay.
So they took a GMO crossed to Great Pie and then crossed it back to GMO.
Okay. Well, now that you're saying that, I can kind of get a touch of a grape undertone there. I don't initially smell it. I more tasted it than anything.
Yeah, one of them I could tell grape. The other one I could not tell grape.
That's the number 2 right here. And then here's the number 1.
What happened to the permanent marker one? Is that still
I got
okay?
it with me. Get away.
I didn't get to make one of those pre-rolls. That was my favorite one. I was looking
So I snagged it because I really
Tara, don't be stingy, Tara.
I'm sick and tired of us liking the same kind of stuff. Yeah. Fuck me. Come on.
Just gotta grow more, guys.
Yeah.
You know.
I would say the number 1, I can taste a little bit of the grape a little bit more on that one. A little bit. I do get a little grape there. So yeah, super nice, super yummy. Really super appreciate him. Thank you so much, Dabby.
Yeah, it's awesome. When we
Very nice job on the cure too. Very nice job. Everything is very nicely cured and smells great. Appreciate you. So yeah, let's smoke one.
which one are you gonna smoke first?
I think we smoked the number 1 already, right? So maybe
so.
number the 2.
Sure.
Or do you want to do Primal Punch? Nope, we'll do this
So
one.
many choices.
I know. I know. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Yeah?
Emily's torching up the gas right now.
Getting ready to fire up? Yeah? Awesome.
Yeah, you got here just in time, Tara. The conversation was probably going to take a quick turn into how to use breast milk as topical creams or something like that.
Hey.
But,
You didn't know that was the secret
That is-
ingredient in our whipped body butter?
That is
secret
something
ingredient
else
in
to talk about.
everything, apparently. So
Breast milk is the only thing that is free in life, and it has so many wonderful
value.
properties. So many properties. And on that note, I got great news this week. I'm gonna be a grandma again.
well, hell yeah, Tara! Congrats,
Thanks. Yeah.
Nice,
so
man.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
coming to the family in October now. We'll
dude.
have us a fall baby for a change. We've always
There
had
you go.
summer babies in the family. So
So many people are having babies, dude. It's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Our aunt and uncle, Becca's aunt and uncle. So we have
Awesome.
another cousin, you
Cool.
know, he was just born like 2 weeks ago. He's not even 6 weeks behind Aurora,
Okay.
you know, so it's like right there. And then little girl I grew up with, she's already having another baby. It's like her 3rd baby, but it's due in like maybe at the end of the month, maybe in April or something like that. And then there's like another baby due in like May, and then there's like another baby due and another. It's like, holy crap. And I'm not just saying this because it's like, oh yeah, once you have a baby, then all of a sudden you notice everybody's having a baby. No, dude, like everybody's having like in the, you know, like immediate family and stuff. Like all of my cousins, immediate cousins to my my mom has 2 sisters. My mom has 2 siblings, and one of her siblings has 2 children. They both had daughters, and then we just had a daughter, which were my grandmother's only grandchildren, essentially. So my grandmother just passed away last year, and all of her grandchildren just had children. So it's kind of like this spectacular synergy that happened in the
Circle of
family.
life.
It's really crazy, dude. Yeah, it really is. And it was like just within the last year that we all had kids.
You know, I really like at the beginning of the pandemic, what was that like 5 years ago now? I was like, oh my gosh, everyone throw your money into like Pampers and you know, I don't know, whoever's making diapers out there, right? And over the like first year and a half or so, apparently there was like a lack of babies being born. I was really surprised about that, or at least that's according to the marketing or market reports I read. But I tell you what, man, maybe it was just a little bit delayed, but I think you're right. It seems like there's a little, like just maybe like a little minor population boom, or at least among the people I, associate myself with.
Yeah, and it's weird that you say that there was a decrease in the people having babies, because it's wild, because I feel like at that time is more like when I felt like all my friends were having babies. You know what I mean? Like I was having literally all my inner circle of friends were actually having babies around 2020. They were doing the 2020 lockdown baby thing. And then even Becca's siblings, she had a sister that was born just after Becca and I met in 2021. And then, yeah, and like 2 of my friends had a couple kids in 2021, 2022. It was like, wow. Everybody was going to town during the pandemic. Good time to do so. And then that's when Becca and I met. But yeah, man. And then now it's like maybe it's that 2025 thing. There was the planetary alignment. You know, there's a whole change in astrological energy. All of the solar storms and the energy coming from literal energy coming from the sun, it's honestly where Aurora's name comes from. You know, I think that she's a little bit of that stardust. You know, all these kids that are being born in the next year or 2 are part of these massive solar storms. It's pretty gnarly to think about that their consciousness is coming in during such a crazy heat wave, if you will. You know.
Well, I don't know about the heat wave because we definitely experienced some 70 plus maybe degree days in Michigan or this week.
It was like 75 here yesterday.
Yeah, and I drove myself into 4 inches of snow today in Michigan.
Oh wow! It was 81 down in Cincinnati on
Dang.
Friday when I left.
Holy cow, dude!
Yeah, it's definitely
It's too hot
down there.
Can't even.
And true to Michigan form, on Thursday we'll be seeing snow.
Yep.
So that'd be awesome, huh? But
I mean,
last big
I could
cold.
take you out my window right now. I'm not kidding you. There's like 4 inches of snow out there, and I'm in the lower peninsula. I'm not probably far from where Dan likes to snowmobile, but
Did that just come down last night in last night's storm? I saw a belt of snow going.
Yeah, there was.
Going across.
I mean, yeah, it was surprising. Like the upper northwest corner, I think got close to 6 inches out of nowhere. And I know.
I hope Grayling got some because they need some more snow up there. I've heard.
Yeah, Gaylord.
Yeah.
I've been romping around without any shoes and socks on, dude, for like the last 4 days.
Dude, I've had to wash my kids' feet off in either the sink or the bathtub every time we've come inside the last 3 days. Yeah, it's like
awesome.
Otherwise, we've got a inch-thick coat of mud and probably chicken shit on there.
I'm so covered in chicken stuff and dirt, and it's awesome. I actually already took the winter wrapping off the chicken coop, got rid of their plastic and everything that was honestly just getting blown around in yesterday's windstorm. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to take it off. They were -4 degrees in their coop and they're totally fine. I'm just going to take their plastic. It's not going to get any lower than 20, you know, even if it does get cold.
Yeah.
So we're not going to get those 4 degree. We might get a 4 degree, you know, pop, but I don't think we're going to get those. Like, I don't think the ground's going to freeze again. I think the ground's going to start heating up, and yeah, I think in some cases you're probably good to go and getting some cold hardy stuff in the ground. No problem. I've got lettuce started. I've got beets started. I've got some stuff that we're going to try for our plant sale and stuff. Some summer crops like basil is started because we want basil to get big, but we don't have tomatoes or peppers. Last year we started tomatoes at like the end of the year, and by the time they were even good to go in the ground, they were like really big. So we're just kind of gonna, you got to up pot everything when they start getting big, and it's just a pain in the ass. If we were doing everything hydro, it wouldn't be a big deal because we could just feed everything and top some things and keep them back. And just trying to up pot because you start running out of like nutrition and soil pots. 3-inch soil pots only go so far.
When you planting outside this year, you gonna go middle of May?
Yeah, because of the light cycle. I just take it to mid. Are you talking about cannabis?
No, I'm talking about your vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
Like plants and starts. I'm not talking about direct seed because you can get away with that before frost, but they're predicting about the middle of May for the frost date. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna
around there.
we're gonna get lettuce in the ground. I'm gonna put lettuce in the ground as soon as it's big enough, which maybe in the next 2 weeks.
So you transplant lettuce? You don't direct sow it?
I'm not gonna direct sow it
Okay.
just because I want to space. I don't want to waste a bunch. I got a decent amount of seed. I'm just gonna, if I had like a seed,
being able to
or
transplant
something,
and place it is nice. That you don't have to worry about going through and thinning and all that bullshit.
I'm gonna do that with, but yeah, just because I don't know. I could seed it and then pull out a whole bunch of it. I'm gonna do that with carrots. I'm gonna seed. I'm gonna direct sow
I had good
carrots.
luck with carrots, man. I got 1 carrot last year. Fucking things.
There's a lot of
I've
stuff.
never had any
like
luck
that
with
just-
carrots in the past. They're a bitch to grow.
They're assholes.
You can't let them dry out when they're trying to germinate. You gotta like cover them, and you can't plant them deep. So you gotta like surface sow them, and you gotta like not let them dry out, but they're on the surface. So you either have to like keep them under like strenuous amounts of water all day and night for like 2 weeks, or you have to like cover them up. So my plan this year is to like sow my carrots and then like cover them up with a sheet of cardboard.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
And then keep it wet underneath there. And maybe after a few days, check on it. And if I've seen something, take it up. But if not, leave it for a couple more days. Maybe after like 3 or 4 days, check on it every day. And just be super neurotic about it. I don't want to like, I definitely don't want to starve them of sunlight. You know what I mean? But I do it with microgreens all the time where I seed. So in growing microgreens, I don't plant anything underneath the soil surface. So it's like, as long as it stays moist, the plant thinks it's under the soil. So like just for example, just take a 1020, a tray, clone tray, whatever you want to call it. I don't know, give it a layer of grow media, call it pro mix, compost, soil, whatever. Just sprinkle seeds on top of that is how I do microgreens, and I just stack trays on top of each other. Yeah, I wet the soil, right? I get it wet, and then I just stack trays on top of each other. And after a few days, you just kind of like lift up a tray. And it's like, oh, they're germinating. And then you flip a tray upside down and you leave them in total darkness and just let them like stretch and get all weird and lanky. Like they'll grow. You know, they'll grow without the sun. They'll do their thing and grow, but you just don't want them to get all lanky outside. You don't want them to do that in the field because then they'll fall over. The wind will knock them down. They'll do all kinds of stuff. But they'll definitely like, I don't know if I need to be so much like check it all the time. You definitely want to pay attention to it. You don't want to get too lanky.
For sure.
The
For Growly, you're muted or something, man. It's not coming through. I see your lips moving like an old martial arts movie. but it's not matching. Nothing's coming out. Yeah, I'm liking it though. I'm not complaining. This is all right.
I'm probably not gonna do the peppers and tomatoes though until after that frost date.
Yeah, peppers, they take forever to get to sometimes too.
Tomatoes can manage sometimes if you get a frost or something. Peppers really don't like frost. I generally will keep them in. Fortunately, like I'll get them outside. I'll get them up and going, and I'll get them outside. And if you can just get them under cover, you know, we have frost blanket. We have a lot of stuff. We can either cover them up if they're on tables, but if they're in the ground, we have a space right now that kind of has a caterpillar hoop over it, and we're gonna put plastic on it. Yeah, still nothing for Growler.
Yeah, nothing for really.
So we're gonna.
My tomatoes indoors here soon. I want to have them. I'll cut them down a bit if needed, but I want to have hardier starts this year than I did last year.
We could top them and then take those tops and clone them in the aero cloner.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
And then have tons of tomatoes.
I mean, it's a goal this year to
It wouldn't
try
be
to learn
bad to,
canning. So
and it wouldn't be bad to start a few of the tomatoes in pots on the porch too, to have some in pots and some in the ground.
Mm-hmm. I have a few that say they're good container varieties, so that'd be cool.
Like it.
I'm really excited. This year I'm going to try to grow amaranth, red amaranth.
Oh, I'm so excited! I already have a plan for that. I'm gonna
It's a
alternate.
good plan.
I'm gonna alternate plantings of. I'm gonna do on the back by the back fence. I'm gonna do like a giant sunflower, and then an amaranth plant, and then a giant sunflower and an amaranth plant, and then I'm gonna weave like you do for tomatoes, using the stems, the stalks of the sunflower to help keep the amaranths up.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh yeah.
So I'm excited to do that. And the amaranth is
Oh yeah.
big, red, beautiful looking. Do you have that seed pack?
They're on the thing right there.
Is it Baker Creek's amaranth?
No,
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. But I just like I found out that you can even eat the leaves of the plant. So you can eat the leaves, and then you can also harvest the grain.
So it's sow right now seeds, and it's red garnet amaranth.
Oh, cool. Right on. Yeah, I think I tried doing Baker Creek's amaranth, and I don't think I had
You can eat these leaves.
any luck with them. That's cool. Hell yeah.
And then to harvest the grain and separate it or something, it says you just chop the whole plant, put it in a paper bag, and beat it.
Is that a stratified plant? Is that a cold start?
You can
plant?
direct sow it.
No, it doesn't say anything about having to put them in the cold.
No? Okay, cool. For some reason, I was thinking it was. Maybe I'm thinking of quinoa. Might be thinking of quinoa. Similar looking plant, but what? It might have been challenging. I don't know. One of them was challenging.
That's gonna be fun to take and then collect the grain and maybe like process. You know, I don't know how we process it, but maybe in a mortar and pestle to get a flour and then
Yeah. Oh yeah.
make like a bread or something out of it.
I'm stoked, yeah.
That's sweet.
But yeah, that'll be a new thing for us to grow. I've never grown amaranth ever, so that'd be awesome. And the birds love the fucking sunflowers, that's for sure.
They'll probably like the amaranth too.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the sunflowers, they know. They might not know about amaranth. So maybe,
Yeah, that's true.
maybe the
Like,
sunflowers
what is
could
this
be like a bank-
strange?
it could be like a door to get the birds on the sunflowers and away from the amaranth. Hopefully, maybe.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
do a bunch
know. I'll
of
take
black
it.
oil sunflowers this year.
All 6 foot.
The amaranth does get 6. It gets 6 foot.
I think so. Yeah, reach 6 foot tall or more.
Ooh, it's gonna be
I
tall.
don't
As
think I've ever seen this. Then I mean, like out and about. I can't like.
It's like it's like an heirloom grain.
Okay.
So
They said when I looked it up, because I got these seeds last year and just never got around to planting them. But when I looked it up, it said that it grew in different parts of Illinois, just randomly on the sides and stuff. But I myself wouldn't have, I can't say I've ever seen it in person either.
Super cool. You'll have to make sure you post pictures about it.
Oh heck yeah!
Sorry, I'd normally share, but I don't have 2 monitors today, so it's yeah.
what are you sharing?
I was gonna share picture of a tamarack.
Oh, like a picture of it? I can look it up on
Yeah.
that. I could do that.
You look it up. I'll share your screen. How about that?
There you go.
It's a very like pretty purpley red flower. You know what I mean? Like reminds me of like a cabbage meets. I don't know, like a. It does kind of remind me like of a weed you'd see in like a field of grass or something like that growing on its own. Sometimes like milkweed or something like just standing out. That's what
Red
it
garnet.
reminds me of. But it's super red.
Yeah, it looks like some kind of dock. Looks like it really looks like dock. Sit down. It looks like a red version of a dock plant or a.
Wow, this is difficult to share screen on this thing. Holy cow! You gotta go through a lot of screens. Share. All right, I hit it 3 times, I think. Is it sharing? All right, cool.
There we
So
go.
look at this sucker. That's a big ass leaf.
That's pretty
Yeah,
nice.
it is. I mean, is that all seeds up in there?
Yeah. All this
Oh, that's kind of cool.
That's super cool. Wow.
green down here. It's big,
Yeah,
huge.
I like that.
It reminds me like very much of like a cabbage plant meets like a field weed because the amount of seeds that thing is producing, like the seed to leaf ratio, you know what I mean? It
Yeah,
just seems like a weed to me.
I would love that in cannabis if that was the bud to leaf ratio. Oh my god!
Yeah, no shit.
Please
Just smack that
That thing looks super
Oh, I
wide.
didn't hear that.
look at if we collect
Oh,
a
yeah,
bunch of
check that
seeds, you
out.
could do microgreens.
Some
That's
micros, yeah.
That'd be
Really
cool. That'd be a cool mix in your microgreens.
That is
right?
pretty cool.
Throw some
Yeah, no
red-
shit.
You know what? I bet you could harvest those pigments because that seems like it's a lot of pigment
It
to
really
make
does,
that.
yeah.
You know,
So bright.
anthocyanins. Is that what we think that is?
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely would be. Which is crazy because it's blue. Like that's how I don't know. Little.
we like
of
to
it
call
is
it
in there.
purple. It's a reference to the LED days.
I think it's I think indigo. I think it's indigo. Actually,
There's the raw leaf nutrition. So what do we get out of it? We get a little bit of protein, a tiny bit, but a little bit of protein, calcium, iron.
was there no fiber? I'm not seeing fiber
Yeah,
in there.
yeah, none. This is in the green leaf.
No fiber in the leaf.
No.
What?
it's all in the iron, I guess. I don't know.
56. Wait, it says 56%
Go down.
carbs.
56%
Oh,
carb.
wait, 1 in a cup.
In
That's-
one cup, this is the vitamins and nutrients.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So it's all sugar. How is it no fiber? That doesn't make sense.
Net carbs 1.
There's got to be something to take away from the carbs. Then where's the fiber?
No cholesterol. There's ash. What? Ash is the remainder left after food is completely burnt at high temperatures. They consist of inorganic compounds such as metal oxides. Oh, they burn it to get all these numbers. Must be.
Yeah, that's how you get like caloric values and stuff. It's just
Looks
fire.
like it's highest in manganese and potassium. This is a cool website. You can click on everything and tell you what each one's good for. Amino acids. And then related foods. Interesting. Shut
How
up.
does that compare to something that we know is like super highly nutritious though? You know what I'm saying? Like, because that was what, 26, 28 grams, the portion size?
Yeah.
28
So,
grams.
You know, so compare that to, I don't know, kale or, I have
Maybe
no idea.
Something. What would it compare to?
What do we change that here?
Search. Yeah.
Kale.
Kale.
Open it in a new
Raw.
tab so we can.
What are you considering nutritious though? What?
I
what
have no idea.
factors?
What would you grow instead of this in your garden, right? Like
It has more fiber, kale does.
it's a 21 gram sample.
Well, that's
so
my
it's
question.
smaller
Like, why is there no fiber in amaranth? That doesn't make sense. Like, there's got to be something holding it all together.
too. Maybe it's just super like mushy when you eat it.
It's saying the same thing about.
Well,
saying-
it's like it's all sugar.
saying the same thing on kale.
Maybe it
But it's
Boils
showing
down.
it's showing dietary fiber on the kale. Right there.
That wasn't
Yeah,
there.
didn't have it.
0.9 grams. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
so that's taken away. That's taken away
That's-
all of the carbohydrates. So okay, so check it out.
Over
You're getting almost a gram of sugar, right? But you're also almost getting a gram of fiber. So when you eat, so people are like, yeah, there's sugar in my fruits and vegetables. When you talk about added sugar, and you're like, there's like this argument, right? There's like sugar's bad for you. People are like, yeah, but there's sugar in everything. There's sugar in my vegetables and my apples. And like, yeah, but there's also fiber. So what ends up happening is, okay, so when your body digests and metabolizes stuff, that carbohydrate, you subtract from the fiber, or you subtract the fiber from the carbohydrate. So there's essentially no digested carbohydrate. You know what I mean? It balances itself out almost to nil, not zero. You know what I mean? If you're getting 0.9 minus 0.9 is zero.
Like as in, you're not storing it if you've got an equal
Well, that's-
amount of fiber.
No,
So-
as in like the fiber content cancels out your body's absorption of
Just
your
the
body
sugar.
doesn't absorb that amount of sugar, right? So
This is what that we really were interested in. Look at the grain. It's got fiber, but it's got fucking protein.
oh, it does have. Was that on there the whole time? The
No,
diet-
I
No, this
was-
is the grain.
I just went to the-
oh, the grain. Okay.
I went to the grain and not the leaf.
Yeah.
I know we're still looking at percentages and stuff, but just note that this sample size is 10 times the size of the amaranth one.
So what
Yeah,
you
but the
would get
percentage
would
of that
be-
is still. You see what I
Right,
mean?
right. It's
just
still
still-
percentage wise, but don't look at like calories or grams or milligrams right now because that's
Yeah.
it's a factor of
Yeah, there's
10.
332 milligrams of potassium. But it's only-
Yeah. Oh, we get 251
But look
calories.
at that. I mean, it's high, a grain that's high in iron, which is important to us,
Yeah.
and fucking fiber and protein. That's pretty cool. A grain you can
Yeah.
just grow in your backyard. We got way off topic. I mean, I guess it's the growth. We're talking about growing still.
Yeah, so basically, if you look at that right there, and it says total carbohydrate 46. If you subtract the dietary fiber, which is 5.2 from 46, I don't know, what do you get? 40.8,
Yeah,
41.8,
40.8,
40.8,
yeah.
whatever. So you it's basically 40.8. Is
Yeah.
the actual amount of carbohydrate that your body is going to absorb, or in Becca's case, needs to adjust insulin for. You know what I mean? So she uses that math formula every time she has to take insulin to determine how much carbohydrate the body actually is taking in, how much you're
So is this
in our case.
then high in carbohydrates?
This is high in carbohydrates. Yeah, dude. This is like drinking a soda pop for sure.
It's 46 grams of carbs.
That's a lot of sugar.
Is
And
it-
it's 42 grams of sugar, even with the fiber. It's a lot of
But-
sugar.
Yeah, but I was gonna say at least it's balanced a little bit with the protein.
Yeah, I mean, there's protein in there and there's other stuff in there. I mean, it's not all
Calcium,
sugar,
Iron.
but it is high in
It's
sugar.
not processed sugar dumped into a can with some
I
syrup
want to
flavor.
make it into like a flour and cook with it and bake with it. So that makes
Yeah, I'm sure it has a lot of flavor too. I mean, with sugar carbohydrate content that high, I mean, I'm sure it's got a lot of flavor. I'm sure it has a lot of energy, potential energy, if you will, if you consider that.
Yeah. It's gonna look cool as fuck too, being that red.
So look at it though. It's going to be a wide plant. It looks wide. Like if it grows like that one did, where the leaf structure is on the bottom like that. If that plant is
All
6
the
feet
plants are
tall,
plants too, though.
it might be a 5-6 foot wide structure on that thing.
That's gonna be sweet.
It's a big plant. That's cool.
That's why I'm saying to have those sunflower there to help support it if I need to, and I can even put twine in between. I hope that's all I'm going to have to do. I'm not going to have to stake them, but if I have to get some bamboo stakes or something, I can use that too. It's just going to be fun. Maybe put some autoflowers next to it.
the amount of actual like cut flowers that we have this year picked out. Oh my gosh. I'm super excited for that.
It's going to look cool. And we have already on our front flower bed, we have tulips this high up.
That's cool.
Oh no kidding! Sweet. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Got the daffodils are already way up there. Already got bud heads, and some are open.
Buttheads.
Bud heads.
Cool.
Oh, that's interesting. So
I want to add way more daffodil
yeah.
for next year. They keep moles away. Pro tip.
Our garlic's already sprouting up. Actually, it's behind. I got a photo from last year. Our garlic was like a foot tall out at the farm, on like March 14th last year. So the ground just froze. I couldn't even stick my pitchfork into our pile of dog shit in the backyard 3 days ago, and the last 2 days I've been out there digging and doing most of the yard I was able to dig into. Just the pile of dog shit I couldn't really stick the finger. There's a little bit of like the pots are probably still frozen. We got a lot of rain, so I'm guessing it thawed it out finally. But all the pots, fabric pots, were still frozen to the ground even yesterday. I was out there trying to get some shit to move. Yesterday, the rain event. No, yesterday was windy.
Windy as shit.
Frozen to the ground yesterday. Fucking, I was able to dig and get some stuff done. Clean up all the garden areas. Don't worry, I just chopped and dropped everything. Pollinators are, I'm sure, fine. I had to do a little bit of digging.
I just took all the fucking leaves, and I have a rider mower, but I have a bagger for it. And I just would run over the leaves again and again, and just fucking fill up my bags. And I would take those bags and go. I went over all my beds, everything I had, and we're gonna add beds this year. But so I don't have any weeds popping up right now. They're just fucking under a mulch of fucking chopped up leaves.
Oh, and we're gonna try to get a chip drop this year. We gotta sign up for that.
We're gonna do a chip drop, and
dude, hurry up and sign up. I gotta sign up too. It might already be too late in the season. I was thinking about it. I might have got my notice by like this time last year. That was like, sorry about your.
I've seen some signs going up lately on the side of the road.
I just started getting some emails again from them. So
just listen. Sit outside and just you'll hear chainsaws going. Go there. Go to that sound like a moth in a fucking flame, and just talk to them and be like, "Hey, I'm at this address. I'll give you $20, or not even. Just be like, hey, can you come drop this off?"
There were some guys chopping up, and they had the whole big giant the trailer with the big wood chipper behind it, and and I walked up to him because it was only like 3 houses down. And I walked up to the guys. I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing with those chips? You can dump some back right over here, just 3 houses down if you want. Yep. They're like, oh, we're not allowed to dump chips or whatever. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're not. I said, who said no? Just dump the chips. What are you talking about? You're not allowed. I'm telling you can do it. What do you mean you're not allowed? What? That's what they said. They're not allowed. So I don't know. It depends on the crew.
Yeah, I guess it does. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I could see like the city.
That's what it was. It was city.
Oh, city.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. That's they gotta take all of that, and they gotta make their own compost. And
they're accounting for the work they did. Probably, you know what I mean. Yeah. It's like there's the private organization. They gotta account for it by offloading it somewhere, and that's gonna cost them money. If they could do it 3 doors down, it's gonna save them money.
My neighbor had a tree trimmed, and so she's got a crew out there, you know. And I go out there and I'm like, hey, do you mind tossing me your wood chips? You know, they're like, this is the year we had 3 truckloads of wood chips. I think in 2023 we signed up for a chip drop early in the season, and that came the day after we went and talked to an arborist around the block. We hear brr, brr, and so Becca and I go for a walk. And we, hey, you know, we live right behind here. Would you guys, you know, toss the wood chips in our driveway when you're done? You know, and I'm like, maybe it'll save you a trip to go talk, you know, throw them out. They're like, yeah, we'll come check it out. So they came and they dropped a big old load right in front of our garage. And I was gonna cancel the chip drop, and I kind of forgot about the chip drop, and and it had already been like a month, and it had been like 6 weeks. You know what I mean? I'm like, chip drop's not fucking coming. I'm out at the farm. Becca calls me. She's like, hey, there's a really big truck here. I mean, like a 20 fucking yard load gets dumped in front of this. Like, we already had like a nice 5 to 10 yards from this one tree, and they dumped like another 15 or 20.
Like
and
they chipped the whole tree up.
They filled our whole fucking driveway, dude, with wood chips all the way down to the sidewalk. It was great.
I remember you worked on that for a while.
I worked on that all fucking winter, dude. It was from like the middle of February through March, in through like snow, and it was wet. And Rubens destroyed the yard way worse than I destroyed. I thought I put the yard into a wreck hauling wood chips, dude. And that little fucking dog's taking it down. But anyways, so come
They're
like
composting the whole time. You kick into them and fucking
come
smoke.
like 2 weeks before our wedding, dude. Maybe 3 weeks. It's just like right
You're
before
a
our
hustler.
wedding.
Yeah, I remember
Dude,
that.
right before our wedding, man, and we're having the wedding in our backyard. For those out of context, everything's stress ball. You know what I mean? There's not enough. There's so much work to still do. My neighbor's getting a tree trimmed, and I see this truck out in front, and I'm just seeing this truck, dude. And I'm just seeing these wood chips going into this truck, and I'm just going.
Like a moth to a flame.
I'm just like, no, fuck this, dude. I've got so much to do. I go running out there to this dude's. Hey, and mind you, my neighbor already paid for a disposal of this shit, right? She already paid for the cleanup and the disposal. They're supposed to dispose it somewhere. Well, guess where they disposed it? Right next door in my driveway. After I moved my truck out of the way, they dumped another, I don't know, fucking 10 yards or whatever right there. They gave me all these stumps. I got 6-foot stumps out in my yard still because they gave me all their fucking tree stumps and shit. I hauled all this shit back out. And like the day or the 2 days before the wedding, it must have been the week before the wedding I got this dumped, because the day before the wedding, it was still in my driveway. My nephew came over and helped me fucking haul. My 2 nephews came over and helped me haul the rest of it into the back. I just put it in a pile. Covered it with none of you guys saw it, did you? Those guys that came to the wedding, you didn't see. There was a lattice in front of it. I hid it behind a lattice facade. I created. My dad. I love getting shit for free, dude. My dad's like, "Hey, this guy's done with the project. He's got a whole bunch of lattice. You want it?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, bring me lattice, dude." You know what lattice costs at Lowe's, right? Or Home Depot? It's like $40 a panel.
Yeah, lattice.
Yeah.
Dude. Fuck. Bring me the lattice, dude. He brought like 4 or 5 panels of lattice over, dude. That stuff's I've been going through it, making shit with it here and there, but it worked for the wedding, dude. That's for sure. Made a facade, hid all of that wood chips. Nephews helped out a little bit. Chickens got the pile of wood chips. It was a done deal. But yeah, dude, hound those arborists. Long story short, you'll get your at least the ones that aren't working for the city, I guess. Sorry, Spartan, that didn't work out for you.
No one
Still worth a
no
try.
one no one would have ever known the difference at that wedding, that you had gotten 40 yards of fucking mulch delivered 2 months.
It's gone. You go back there, it's like, yeah, there's some pathway wood chips and shit, but it looks like we went back there with a few
Right.
bags and we're like,
Right.
dude,
right,
but
it
if
really
you
does.
if you really dig into the pathways or anywhere in the garden, it's actually diggable. And like for a solid clay start, it's kicking up pretty good. We've had to do a lot of broad forking. I don't know if I'd call it completely no-till lasagna at this point, because we do a lot of broad forking, but I haven't actually ran a rototiller in about over a decade at this point, in a very small plot when I did. I don't even think I broad forked those areas that I did. So
Those wood chips bring a lot of. They encourage the mycelium networks to establish, and with you not rototilling, they get to establish and stay there.
it's been so nice.
Yeah, exactly. And what's left in that is a lot of it's carbon, but there's also like trees have some of the deepest roots, right? And they're mining minerals all the way down to the bedrock.
Well, you mentioned, I think last year, about how it was like siphoning nitrogen, the massive amount of mulch, or maybe it was 2 years ago. Is that a problem anymore?
No, I've gone to the liberty of keeping the mulch out of the beds themselves and not using mulch as a mulch. Huh? Not using mulch as a mulch. Not using wood chips as a mulch. Rather using leaves and grass clippings as mulch instead of wood chips. So the wood chips end up in the pathways. They end up making their way into the beds, but that's okay. If there's a few wood chips and whatnot in the beds, I don't mind. I kind of like that. It's a carbon source. It's a slow.
Yeah, and for me, I just bury it. That's my fix. I just bury it, because if it's on the surface, it's where it's more of a nitrogen sink, I think, than if it's buried.
Generally in around the vicinity of it. So the reason it becomes a nitrogen sink on the surface is usually because it's covering the surface. But yeah, anywhere around that carbon source, it'll be low in nitrogen. But that's like like contact zone. You know what I mean? Like
And that's
I
not
don't know
forever.
what the
That's
distance
until
is.
that piece of wood is decomposed
Right.
and then pretty much mined. And then
It's really not that long either. I mean, it's like give it like a year and all of a sudden it's filled with microorganisms and mycelium and all kinds of
yeah,
shit.
if you took a garden rake, one of those metal garden rakes, into one of your paths and pulled away the wood chips, I bet you could just take your bare hand and dig a hole.
Yeah. The stuff on the surface.
And you're gonna see the mycelium on the underside of it, like the network
Right.
that's building in between those wood chips. You pull up, go down like 3-4 inches, and it's just gonna be white webbing like crazy.
Yeah.
It's compost. It's worm castings. I mean, it's a ton of good worm castings and whatever was in those wood chips break down into humus,
Humus, yeah.
pith, whatever,
Carbon.
fiber. That's tons of fiber.
What is it? Tilth or pith?
Missing in our amaranth.
Yeah, for some reason, non-existent in amaranth. I'm gonna have to look up more plants and see what
We
else
need a
does
second
not
show.
have.
Someone will need it.
Is lettuce really low in fiber? Like, what is? Why is kale just like this weird? It's superfood's a weird one too because that was like a marketing thing. So that's an interesting one when you talk about food as being healthy and not healthy, where food's just food and there's just food and junk food. And superfoods is a weird, like you can have, I don't know if healthier food is really like if it's you're talking about like natural food.
I feel like superfoods should just be referred to, or it should just refer to whole foods.
Well, that's kind of the thing is it's like
Yeah.
it was a marketing thing, you know, and I think it was a marketing something. I recall this thing. It was like a marketing thing specifically for, I think it was like maybe for the company Whole Foods. For like selling kale or so. It was something about because like kale was a decoration for so long and then all of a sudden it became a staple in the like vegetarian diet. And
It was the hipsters. Come on, we all know.
bitter.
well, like what it was is it was
It didn't need to be.
and it was due to a marketing thing, right? Like under something. I don't know. Maybe it's a conspiracy. I don't know. Maybe maybe it's a psyop. It's a psyop from
Both.
big
CrossFit.
FARMA.
She doesn't eat any of it. She won't eat anything. She won't eat bananas.
My
She won't eat blueberries.
both my dogs love kale. They go out there and eat more. They destroy kale plants. They go out there and just chew chew out fucking leaves off of it.
Yeah, Ruben,
they eat more kale than I do for sure.
Ruben will definitely eat some kale. I gave my broccoli stalk the other day. Get your broccoli, Ruben. Go get my broccoli.
Endo
Give him
goes
the
up
cabbage.
and smells it. Like if
The
I
problem-
drop it, if I'm like chopping veggies or something and I drop a piece of carrot, I'll call her over. She'll sniff it, but she never eats it. I can't get her to eat
Oh.
anything like that. She wants the meat. That's it.
Both my dogs will eat carrots too. They love carrots.
Nope. I'll put like blueberries or something in her dish or like banana or something. I can't even put medicine in a banana piece and give it to her. She just won't take the banana. She'll eat the food around the blueberries and then leave the blueberries at the bottom of her dish. She doesn't go for that kind of stuff. She just wants meat.
Yeah, but we put the meat in a dish, she'll go with town.
Yeah. Oh my God. All I have to do is pour a little bit of like chicken broth or some beef broth over her food and oh, crazy. She goes crazy for it.
Yeah, but I really like doing which I saw it in the reason I'm just bringing it up and going back to it is I saw it in the chat talking about wood chips and stuff still. Pathway. Like rather than like covering my growing spaces with a mulch of wood chips, I'll put it in my pathways because it will break down and I will get the benefit of the mycelium and all that. What'll happen is over time, like right now, for example, reshaping beds and I'm doing a lot of raking and I rake my pathways. I'll rake, leaves and stuff and rake all the old stuff out and, leave all of like the top, kind of like mix it up. And like, there's a lot of like compost in there and that stuff can go into the beds, can rake it all into the beds and then rake the big stuff back out of the bed, do a nice little sift. into your growing areas with their pathway. Keep it in the pathway for 2 or 3 years and then put it into the beds and then reapply your pathways. There's a handful of methods that I've done to keep wood chips in the garden, keep the carbon source down, and also not like tie up all the nitrogen. You know, what really likes the wood chips and growing in wood chips is strawberries. As like they really like to mat over top of a nice path of wood chips.
Oh, yeah. They're great for fucking a mulch too, I think. Especially green grass. The green grass is going to have some nitrogen, so it's going to put some of that nitrogen back, and it mats up and keeps, a weed block. Makes a good weed block.
I've been growing potato sprouts all winter long.
Oh, sweet.
Dark cabinet.
Oh, yeah.
And they're vining. They're ready to come out.
Oh,
So I can't wait to get those, in the ground. But
and onions.
yes, onions too. Oh my gosh. But my question is, do wood chips make a good top cover, like when you have to mound over potatoes?
I don't think I would do wood chips for potatoes.
I did grass clippings. I did just a giant mound of grass clippings over the potatoes that I
like that.
did last year.
Because straws are a good traditional one too. You just
Okay.
go buy a bale straw and you can grow more and more and keep throwing more straw and let it get bigger.
Okay, cool.
Likewise, what about the cantaloupe and the melons, like we were talking about earlier, to avoid them getting that kind of rot from the water if they're sitting on the ground? Can we use wood chips under them if we see a melon growing? Right? Can we just throw a little, maybe like a square foot or so of wood
Don't
chips
wood
under
chips
there? Is that
retain moisture? So I feel like wood chips are
Right.
meant to retain moisture. So I feel like if you had that in that specific spot, then it would keep it wetter than if you just let it dry out.
Would
probably
you
better than the
go
ground?
out whenever you water?
Maybe hay or something. Sorry, what was that, Spartan?
It would be better than clay.
What I've done is you can do two things. One is you can grow them traditionally, and then when you're out there to water, like once a week or whatever it is, you can go and turn every melon that you see a half turn. Just turn a half turn so that that bottom spot is more exposed. It can dry out.
I had a lot of brick, like paving
That
stone
would be a good
and brick,
thing.
and I just would put one or two under each cantaloupe that I couldn't raise up on the trellis I made.
And that's the second thing is the trellis. That you see a lot of people will use a trellis or a hog panel that they've turned over and made like an arch out of and grow them up over, and it gets them off the ground and they hang down.
For some reason, I feel like I've seen a mound of sand being used.
Hmm.
I could see that.
I don't know though.
Good,
You
That
mentioned
is
the
true.
mounding. I feel like I've seen it used in something. I don't know though.
That's inviting too many
Like-
cats into my garden.
Like pumpkins growing or something. I'm curious about the potato. So, from my understanding, potatoes don't need a lot of nutrition, and I don't like hardly any at all. And I'm curious if they need nitrogen.
Well, they're pretty green plants.
I know they are. They are.
They look almost like
Um,
a tomato, kind of.
Yeah, they do. Tomatoes do require quite a bit. They're nightshades, so the same family. They're in the nightshade family. They're toxic to chickens, just like tomato plants are.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, they're toxic to us too.
Oh, I know that we bred the toxicity out of the tomatoes.
Yeah, like we shouldn't eat the leaves off of tomato plants, and they have hella sticky and itchy.
Trichome, man.
The trichomes on tomatoes are just stitholithic trichomes on tomatoes are like thorns, man.
I love the smell of fucking tomatoes.
Yeah, they do have a cool smell. The whole plant.
Give me
smells
those
great.
terps.
Yeah, dude. Tomato terps and cannabis. Whoa.
Ooh, I just thought the same thought at the same time.
Interesting. Tomato
That's what I
terps
have.
and
That
cannabis.
fucking-
Who's got the tomato terps and cannabis?
Yeah, would that even be good? That might be gross.
That might be weird.
I would probably not like it, but it would be fun to
so
do.
weird.
Want to do a dab of my tomato?
The house smelled like
You
spaghetti.
gotta eat grilled
Oh,
cheese.
sun grown could be sun dried tomato.
We had our first jar, our first store bought spaghetti sauce in like 2 years. We haven't had spaghetti sauce from the store in seriously a couple years. And
Nice.
Were you
That's-
disappointed?
dude, I thought Becca was making spaghettios. I was like,
Ah,
spaghettios? Why are you making Campbell's tomato soup? What is
this
going on?
bullshit?
What do I smell in here? I'm like, why does the house smell like Campbell's soup? Not as if that's a bad thing. Or like, I'm like, why does this smell like SpaghettiOs? It's just store bought sauce. I mean, it was like good sauce. It was just like store bought sauce, just like a different amount of sugar than what we don't have any sugar in our stuff. You can just smell the sugar cooking. And along with like the tomato sauce, there's no way that I would have like enjoyed that if it was weed. It's
How
like,
much corn syrup do you think is in a jar of ragu?
what? What about the jar of ragu?
How much corn syrup do you think is in a jar of ragu?
There's a lot. There's corn syrup in it. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of corn syrup.
With wheat, white, and corn.
Oh,
I usually buy the Paul Newman one. I think that actually doesn't have any high fructose corn syrup in it.
Shout out
grow
to
more corn.
potatoes are heavy potassium feeders.
Oh, potassium. Obviously, potassium. Oh.
Okay, so how do you fix that? What do you address it with then?
Ashes. Your fire pit. Ashes from
shit.
your fire pit.
So the only time that I've ever had a tree service from the city, they were across the street when I was over in Illinois, and I went over there and I was like, y'all can drop it in my backyard right over here. I've got a back alley. You can just back right in, drive straight through. And they're like, oh, sick. Okay. And so they dropped it, but they didn't chip it up. So they just hauled over a shit ton of fucking branches. And they just piled them up in my backyard.
Hell yeah, branches are great, man.
So they stayed there for quite some time, about 1.5 seasons or so, until I was like, all right, I got to do something with this shit. So I just decided to slowly start moving the pile over and when I could drag, and then I would just light it up, and we'd have bonfires all last summer. But yeah, I got a shit ton of ash from that I used to sprinkle over the garden. That was cool as hell.
Yeah, potash, right? Potash. It's I think it's an available source of potassium. I think you have to kind of be chill with it because it can be hot. I think it's an available source of potassium. Like,
I always dump my ashes into my compost pile.
yeah, it's probably the best use.
It's super
It's probably
acidic.
lye. Yeah, you get lye from it, don't you? Doesn't lye come from ashes?
It'll drop your pH like crazy. So you can't overdo it, but it is a great source for your compost pile.
What I would use is I have downstairs a box from Down to Earth is the company. It's called Langbonite, which is 00, like, I don't know, 12 or 22 or something, which is a lot of potassium. So that's probably what I would use in that situation. I think that's what it is. Maybe
And you don't want to get the ashes on your flowering cans. I would not spread ashes in your garden while your plants are in flower.
That'd be gross.
Yeah, well, so I guess it's when water gets onto ashes, it creates I think the acidity is worse, and it creates lye or something like that, or a compound similar to lye, which is very acidic. It's like farm grade acid that dissolves stuff.
Like compost. So stick it in the compost pile.
Yeah, compost it.
Baron Boys Craft Farm says mix it up in the compost.
Yeah, that's a big issue, like in the fire regions for the growers out there. They get that stuff in their buds, and it really messes with the flowers. Ashes will have like a big bonfire next to your garden and stuff like that. We chill out on bonfires during flower season specifically for that, but like I do like to do some burning early in the season to get rid of some dead growth, and then
I like to
all of
burn
those
all the
ashes.
time, Red.
What's that? Well,
I like
burning some doobies. Always burning the doobies.
Cool, though. You can't.
Yeah,
grow
I
outdoors.
mean, if you got a doobie ash, like, you got the doobie on the lip, right? So it just kind of flickers off. It hits the bud. I'm not gonna
At least it's still hemp, right?
well,
It's all
yeah. It's all hemp. So
good stuff.
it's all still good.
It's just pre-decarbed. That's all.
The I mean, it's all THCA, dude. It's all
Yep.
THCA anyway.
Except for your ashes.
Yeah, fortunately, the ashes don't contain any of those molecules. It's all
Right.
in my lungs.
It's hemp, man. That means it's a hemp at that point. All the ashes.
It'd be like they find like what magnesium and like iron and a bunch of weird stuff in the ashes.
Yeah. How have we been able to not? How have we been able to let the government get away with charging people with all these massive weights of flour when they're like weighing the whole plant with the fucking root ball and everything, instead of forcing them to test for the actual substance that's illegal and only weighing that?
Yeah,
Why-
like the amount of THC on the plant they find.
Yeah. Why are you not telling me like the I mean, when you think about the like.
Well, somebody should have compared it to poppies like 50 years ago, or
Yeah.
somebody should have said, "Hey, wait a minute. How come the alkaloids of the poppy are scheduled, but not the poppy plant?" It took until 2018 for them to actually decriminalize growing the cannabis plant itself, to say unless it actually you're trying to sell the THC, it becomes illegal. Otherwise, it is hemp and THCA. Well, I don't know, man. Like, what are these varieties that are? How high is the THCA on it? Once, like, is only a hemp variety considered THCA, or is a high drug cultivar type 1 cultivar, we'll call it? Are they going to be? Is there going to be THC on those at say day? What if I take it today? What if I take it long? What if I take it to amber trikes? Is there conversion going on?
I've seen some like medical stuff, and I'm reading a book right now actually, but that divides it up to like type A, which is high THC, low CBD. Then there's type B, high CBD, low THC. Then there's type C, 50-50.
Type 3.
Type 3.
Type 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's type 4, high CBN. And so, like, how many types are we going to go? What is the focus going to be after that? But I know that there was at least four listed.
And that's what I mean. Like, it's all the same.
Right.
It's all the same plant, And like with the
It's
poppy,
varying level of cannabinoids, I think, is what he's getting at. And it's like, at what point do we just have 5,000 million different types? You know what I mean? Because we just keep discovering things, and we can keep getting different ratios.
yeah, exactly. And it makes no sense to. I mean, well, now you can't. I mean, the argument doesn't really apply today because the 2018 Farm Bill. But if they change up the Farm Bill this year and take away any of the hemp, things going on with it, basically you're back to what it was before 2018, which was saying the entire plant is illegal to grow everywhere. You can't grow the entire plant, right? Which is ridiculous because you can grow poppies. You've been able to grow poppies. There's an American poppy fucking horticulture association and all the shit, but the alkaloids are all scheduled. You know what I mean? Codeine and morphine are both Schedule 3. I think codeine and morphine are both Schedule 3 substances, which are both in the poppy plant. So if you were to criminalize anything within the cannabis plant, it should be what's illegal in the cannabis plant. The THC is the only thing illegal.
Tetrahydrocannabinol.
It's the only thing illegal in it. That's the only thing that's ever.
But we have to like alter our argument a little bit and say, why is it okay the poppy? No, it should be like all other plants. It should be like tomatoes. It should be like
Well, wait until you get into the other plants, because this is the crazy part, right? When you start to get into into analogs, okay? Because now the big argument today is there's a whole half of the industry of people who, like, for lack of a better term, bought into legalization based on some, I don't know, false hope that our leaders were going to know what to do with the legislation. I don't know, man. Like, I hate to say it, but you can't be mad because people are growing hemp. You know what I mean? Just because you bought into legal, you bought into thinking that the legislators are going to have your back on growing a drug that's been illegal for 100 years, that's been lobbied to stay illegal for 100 years. Like, you're not going to, like, they test based on THC, like we have legislation based on THC percentage when it changes over time, there's no shelf life. How do you trust those legislators that are creating these laws? You know what I mean? It's a fool to even spend the money on those people at this point. Anyway, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole that I'm not trying to get into. But either way, so you're pissed off because the hemp industry is selling weed at smoke shops. Oh, they don't have to fucking jump through the hoops, because you know why?
Yeah, I'm not mad about that.
I'm not either, but other businesses are, okay, and I don't either, but they're ridiculous for being because it's this whole fucking thing in the industry. And what I'm getting at, hold on, I don't want to lose where I'm going with this, because what I'm getting at has to do with the whole Controlled Substance Act. You can't just get mad at cannabis law blanket statement, whatever, across the board, or the fact that THC is illegal, and that you can't get mad that people are making profit because of hemp and THCA and all this shit, because what ends up, because of Delta, because their big argument is Delta 8, the big argument is the synthetics, okay, the big argument is all of those things. But here's the thing: any of those synthetics can be recreated with any plant in nature. Take a plant. I don't know what it is, but Alexander Shulgin used to take all kinds of terpenes and all kinds of shit and create all kinds of psychoactive compounds with it. Delta 8, whatever, fuck K2.
Look what they're doing with yeast. Dude, all that shit.
You take any fucking thing and you can create. Okay, so if you're going to start legislating cannabis because you can create Delta 8, you might as well legislate all of nature because you can create Delta 8 and all of these other things. You can't get there. You're not going to get to that point, or they will get to that point, and we're going to be so tied up in red tape trying to shop at the grocery store that we're going to be eating powdered pills. You know what I mean? So
not we. Some of us.
Fuck, not us. You know what I mean? Right, right. A lot of people will be, though, and be like, I'm going to eat my pills. You know, and eat my minerals. It's told me to eat minerals. But anyways, that's what it is. Like, you can't legislate. Like, the poppy contains morphine and codeine, and and you got little old ladies. No offense if you're little old ladies. I'm sorry. You got everybody. I'm getting my age too, whatever.
Never mind the poppy. What about nightshade? That's completely legal to have it growing in your fucking
It's toxic,
yard.
And they're toxic, right?
Yeah.
And they're toxic. I mean, dude, we could get into like into the actual like LSD is created from a mold that grows on rye grain, and I mean, if you could probably go to your grocery store and find moldy rye with ergot on it. You know what I mean? Not going to say that that's LSD, but you know what I mean? A moldy farm field, but you know what I mean?
Don't say that, man. They're going to sell out of rye bread everywhere now.
Dude, the information's on Anarchist Cookbook was made so long ago, dude. I mean,
you still got a copy of it?
Anyways,
don't admit it. Never
ergot wine. Silent Truth, ergot wine. I mean, I'm blanking on Morning Glories for some reason, but they just naturally contain LSA, Hawaiian baby wood rose, LSA. I mean, there's so many plants that are just legal in botany that contain compounds that are psychoactive.
How about salvia, for God's sake?
Salvia is I love Terrence McKenna's quote, because we all contain DMT. DMT is released when we sleep. DMT is released when we're born.
DMT is somebody who's had salvia is what that reaction was right there.
Well, my reaction? Yeah.
I don't want to go back.
I'm not getting into that salvia. Well, it spawned what I was getting into about with Terrence McKenna. So we're all holding DMT. You can't legislate consciousness because we all have DMT in our bodies. You can't make DMT illegal like the way that you think you can, because it's in us. You know what I mean? So to try to legislate chemistry I don't know shit about chemistry, but what I do know about chemistry is I know that anything can be made with everything, because we're all carbon, you know, in the bottom end. When you burn us all, we become the same fucking thing. Sorry for my French. And the difference is you have this whole host of like maybe it's the lizard people. Maybe it's, I don't know, something. But I think that they're trying to create this. They think we're silicone. Like I know they're like there's this whole thing of like, I'm gonna get late session with us real quick. We haven't had a good late session lately, but like there's this whole thing of like, oh, what if we were silicon based, right? And I think that like the whole Matrix thing, this whole like, let's only feed us mineral pills, because there's a whole host of the population I think does think that we are silicon based, that they do believe that we are like rubber and plastic, that we should only eat minerals through pills, and that we should just, only be consuming internet and, just be dialed into this, just give me a pill and I'm cool, and just make me silicone, where the rest of life, nature, everything that's actually decomposing, becoming part of the cycle, contributing to the cycle is carbon, and you might be carbon physically, but mentally and actually what you are becoming is that silicone through technology. I mean, through technology alone, like I can see us just evolving so technologically advanced that we're de-evolving
Well, hopefully, I hope
genetically almost.
yeah, but I hope I think there's also a possibility that technology can push to the point to where there's a lot of experts even saying that we won't have to go to a job because the robot.
That's where we become more silicone.
But that's where we also go back to nature movement. That's where we could.
As long as we become artists,
now I have time to have a personal garden. Now I have time for my own maybe flock of chickens.
Maybe, but half the population is going to be mechanics working on robots, and they're all going to be even angrier that all the other half of the population just gets to sit on their ass, watch everybody else.
Yeah, but that half of the population is going to rely on the farmers. The other half.
That's true. Maybe
make a market.
It's going to have like the war of the mechanics versus the farmers. Oh my god!
Yeah,
the machines.
We already know who's going to win that.
Dude, the machines are totally going to take over the farmers.
Machines can't duplicate what we can do yet. We'll see.
They're trying. The silicon people are trying to make it happen. That's what I'm saying.
See? I know, but they're lazy.
It's the difference. It's the carbon people and the silicon people.
They're not going to outwork the carbon. They're not going.
Maybe it's not even people. It's the carbon entities and the silicon entities.
To be honest, that's really what we are. Is it's like when you say we, it's not this vessel that we're in. It's the spirit. That's what makes us we. I think
that's exactly it. And it's going digital.
Well,
and as it goes digital, it goes more silicone. Because you don't need the carbon body that you exist in anymore. You don't need
I'm fond of it.
It decays, right? The silicone won't.
Well, this is aging.
Only if you can capture consciousness.
I'm not decaying. I am.
What's interesting though is silicone in its base is silica, and silica is sand. Again, molten rock, and
we're running out of it.
Turns to glass.
Are we running out of sand?
Apparently, it's getting becoming a more valuable resource. Believe it or not.
I do believe it. There's a lot of tall buildings use a lot of glass panels and a lot of
there you go.
A lot of other things use glass panels.
A lot of things. Not nearly as much as plastic, but certainly a lot of things.
Yeah, but we live on Earth, so as long as we stop blasting things into space, it's kind of a closed
like glass. What if they put more glass?
Yeah, but how long does that loop take to close? You know what I mean? Like, is it 1,000 years?
It's been closed until we start shooting shit out of space, off the planet. Now we're shooting resources. Now we have to get to the point to where we can grab resources off other places and bring them back here.
Well, I think we're trying to do that with the old meteors and stuff that might have some value in them. I don't know what, but
NASA's looking at that. They found an asteroid that's got a bunch of gold and shit on it. It's super valuable.
Yeah, I've heard about some that are like basically the value of the entire GDP of the history of the planet is on one meteor, and you're like, go get it.
Exactly. Why are we trying to fucking figure out other shit when that's out there? Come on.
If that's really what you're saying,
what we need to say.
What are we doing here? Worrying about TikTok and Facebook and God knows what else.
Yeah.
Go get that meteor.
Like, all right, NASA, here's your budget. Now, when you bring that thing back, we're all paid back, and we all,
the budget
Every
It's the
American.
history of the GDP of the planet Earth. Go get it.
That's what it'd be like. Like Americans would have like a Dubai situation, but a lot more land.
Right.
I see Maga Maha in chat mentions Datura. We had I don't know if it's perennial. We had a Datura plant in our backyard. I was like, I don't even know what to do with it. Datura is highly psychoactive. I think it can be potent to the point of toxicity, lethal toxicity. Yeah, it's like a deadly plant, and it was used, at least from my research on it, it was used by indigenous people as ceremoniously, cautiously. They knew how to work with it. You know what I mean? It's a strange little leaf. It almost looks like a holly plant. It's like got this it's got this like oak shape, but sharp, prickly edges like a holly plant would have, and almost like thorns at the edge of the leaves. Not so much a thorn, but pointy. And then it has like a trumpet like or a morning glory trumpet like flower that comes off it. It's pretty pretty. We had a very small one growing, but very potent plant that, you know, I don't think there's any legislation against those in the Criminal Justice Act or the Controlled Substance Act.
But here's the thing about something like that. It's like it doesn't matter where the source of the material comes from. You can't kill someone, right? You can't make someone sick. So it doesn't matter what you're using to do that. It's kind of like, doesn't matter if it's a gun, or it's a car, it's a fucking plant. You can't do that. So that's where like some of this legislation comes in, where it's like, why are we just adding regulations for no reason? And I do feel like there's a lot of that when it comes to the cannabis side of things, especially since we've now said that we can regulate it. It's like, okay, now let's write every regulation in the book that we can possibly think about and throw it at it, and let's see what sticks.
It's forceful enforcement based on arbitrary information, and what it is it's propaganda. It's, for some reason, there's this controlled propaganda on, and you would think that it would be about public. It's made to be about public safety. It's supposed to be about public safety. Most people think it's about public safety, but when you narrow it out and you go, but wait, there's only a couple of these things. You have to, those of us that give a shit start to look at the history of these things. And even tobacco has this history that goes back, and because of taxes and because of who, what, and where tobacco came from, and how tobacco and who used tobacco, and, you know, again, more indigenous, South American, Mexican type products that were being used. And you have this legislation formed over, well, at the time, the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, taxes and stuff formed more around racism and stuff like that than you have in off lobbyists based on corporate interests. Thankfully I wasn't around in the 20s, because who knows the type of like propaganda, like, I mean, there's propaganda stream is so crazy today, but it's almost been like, who knows how long it's been going on for? Like, how long has it gone on? Was it steady streaming in the middle of the 1800s? Were they cruising on in the 1700s?
Well, you have to remember, in those ages there wasn't really much communication at all, so the only communication you had is what was
well, printing press is what, late 1800s, mid 1800s, or something like that.
I don't know. The propaganda tells us one thing, and then you learn something else 20 years later. Who knows, right? I mean, were they using tablets and scrolls in mass quantities? I don't know, man.
I don't think that. Yeah, even though they had a printing press and whatever, there wasn't like. Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of people that had access to a lot of that. So I think that age with the internet that really.
We have this boom of information. Yeah. And it's like cat's out of the bag. You can't get it back in. And
And I don't really think it was an information boom. I just think it was the information was already there. It wasn't new information to some people, but it's like it's just available. So now when you wonder about something, instead of just like, oh, I wonder, you can just literally go on your phone and fucking get the answer to what you're wondering about and go as deep as you want. And
So since we've been able to like kind of call out the I don't even think it's the government necessarily. I think it's like this whole hierarchy of whatever controls the government. I don't even think it's elite. I think it's just this whole other thing. I don't even know what to call it, man. But
Deep
whatever
state.
it is, the deep state, sure. That's a good one.
it's the people. The people control.
Is this thing where was I going to say? Is it a I didn't want to say is it a good is it
Necessary.
yeah, is it necessary, I guess, to even the information is having the information that we have, would we be better off behind the curtain? Okay, Plato's allegory of the cave. Are we better off in the cave looking at the shadows on the wall, or are we better off behind the fire and seeing the shadows? Right, that's the allegory of the cave is propaganda, right? It's the knowledge of propaganda. And so where are we better off knowing, or are we better off unknowing? That's
Well, I think in today's day and age, you have the ability to choose.
you do, because you can just shut shit off and just go out in your garden and not pay attention to anything.
Exactly. Right? Or if you want to, like, you can pick and choose the information you want. You can use the internet as a tool to get information on just one subject and, turn off the other noise if you want to, which is pretty fucking cool. Whereas before, maybe, we'll just go back 100 years and, you might have a TV, but you get force fed 2 channels. You know what I mean? You get only those 2 channels of information. At least
what I feel like it was.
Yeah, at least now it's not that way. Now you can kind of just look and kind of search for that information.
Like, wasn't the whole invention of TV like to wide stream, not just like public service announcements, but like propaganda? Wasn't the whole initiation of it like to get out propaganda?
People will tell you that. The corporate of the United States needed a way to advertise, man.
Advertising, maybe there was an entertainment value, but was the entertainment value the propaganda in the first? Like, it's hard for me to like.
There was no advertising when it first came about. Like, if we're talking television and radio and whatnot, that wasn't a thing. That wasn't the purpose initially behind it. We can certainly say it was co-opted by that very quickly and very aggressively, and has been since. But I caution thinking about things in the way of like, I'm not getting fed propaganda if I'm not listening to the propaganda machine, because you have to think about where the propaganda machine is, and that exists in a lot of different areas in which you might not expect. Just because you're going out and seeking the information you're looking for doesn't mean that information isn't propaganda, right? Like, there's a lot. Just because there's more avenues doesn't mean there's less avenues of propaganda. So you could find yourself in this quote unquote rabbit hole of information, and it might feel right, but it might just be strictly propaganda.
Well, we could be inadvertently.
We could right now. Yeah,
we could be inadvertently adding to one side or another of a propaganda machine. Exactly. Right.
100%.
Yeah. And I say inadvertently because we're not intentionally doing it. We're having a conversation.
Wait, you're not getting paid by the CIA to do this podcast?
That's where I would call it. That's where I would call it like actual propaganda, is when it is like deliberately done in a way that is to sway like social or public
opinion
or yeah, it's weird how it works, man, because people really do like jump the gun on some stuff, Yeah. we all do. I mean, I'm guilty of it too. We all have it's psychological. It's human instinct to do a lot of that, to be trigger happy, so to speak, on like protecting ourselves. Adrenaline just doesn't get shut off. You know, a lot of us don't have that ability to meditate beyond, you know, shutting it off. And
I think the biggest step and the biggest mistake for people is when they're looking into something or whatever it is online is picking a side.
Yeah.
And it's like, really, you should look at both sides and see
Yeah.
what makes sense. What makes sense after listening. That's the big one. Listening to both sides, and then try to make your decision instead of like saying, "Oh, I kind of understand what I kind of agree with this side," and then not even listening to the other viewpoint. Because a lot of times, truth is somewhere in the middle. Most of the time.
You're right, but there's a whole skill there that you're talking about, and that's called critical thinking, and that's something that really like takes practice. You know what I mean? And like taking yourself out of the situation you're always in to be able to put yourself in the shoes, be empathetic, right, to someone else's perspective, and then be able to make a decision. And that, granted, that decision is probably going to be biased based on your own experience and your own, you know, situations you've been through that have shaped that. But I think that's okay. You know what I mean? As long as it's not based on just someone else's opinion, because I think we often rely too much on that without even realizing it.
Well, we're in this weird dichotomy right now, and I'll keep it cannabis related at first, but like it's also like the divide, the human divide right now, centered around strictly politics, is so wild because it dabbles into like every area of our existence, which is so shitty, dude. I don't want everything to be politics. And what I was saying is, while I keep this on cannabis, is you have people that are for cannabis reform. All of us cannabis entrepreneurs, all of us cannabis home growers, cannabis medical patients, everybody's for the freedom of cannabis and the freedom of health. But you have this weird divide even within the cannabis community, just based on what side. Some of the entrepreneurs want there to be more testing. Some of the entrepreneurs are like, free the weed, whatever, dude. The others are like, oh, hemp laws, Delta 8, dude. Make pine trees illegal if you care about Delta 8, right? Because you're just gonna make it out of pine trees, make it out of yeast. Fucking make bread illegal, you jerks. Like, they're so chatted up over hemp that they have to be pissed off over Wonder Loaf. Be pissed off over bleached bread, not over yeasty bread. You know what I mean? Be pissed off over yeasty other shit, right? Not like if you, that's what they're mad. They got other issues with yeast. Okay, that's their problem. I'm not going to go down those. I'm just going to get angry. I'm going to insult people unknowingly, and more people would be offended. I apologize. Anyways, so I don't. What was there? Yeah. So you have this. You have the divide so hard here, and it's all. It ends up getting political around the farm bill. It ends up getting, some people are like, oh, it's going to get this. So anyways, but then you have just basic like, okay. It's funny because like, I'm not getting political here, guys, but I'm going to use names. It's like RFK came on the scene and everybody was like, and all of a sudden hot words like glyphosate, and I'll just say in V words, it doesn't matter which V word you're talking about. There could be a whole host of them, but those words specifically, vacuum, those things, any of them, you talk about any of them, and they're polarized and hot topics. But glyphosate, any of these, I've been talking about glyphosate for close to a decade. Like RFK talking about glyphosate is nothing new, but for some reason, if you have a quarrel with it, you're a far right fascist for some reason. I don't know. Like, and I've been told by no, not everybody's that way. And I'm like, no, dude, you can't talk about it in a social circle. I feel weird talking about glyphosate in a social circle, right? And so, it's weird.
It's so crazy,
it's weird, right?
So crazy.
It
wasn't that way 2 years ago.
It wasn't like that. People are like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I mean? You fucking hippie. You know, what are you, some fucking far left? You know what I mean? Like, talk about glyphosate 2 years ago, they're gonna call you some fucking far left. I could talk about. I remember being when weren't all us hippies the conspiracy theorists back in the day? Like, what the fuck happened, man? I don't know what happened, dude. I like the old centralist libertarian thoughts. It's just like, hey, man, whatever, dude. If you want to like swing whatever direction you want to swing while protecting your, homegrown small business out your garage, and you got to protect it with a small militia army, I don't give a fuck what you do. You know what I mean? Like, where'd that centralist ideology ever go?
Wait a minute, small militia army.
Sure, whatever you got's legal, man. Right, second, what do they call it? One of those things, you can do it. You're
Amendment.
Yeah, and you're also having, unregistered, the shoe factory in your garage, whatever. As long as it's not hiring children, of course. You got
1, 2, and 4. That's all.
Gotta have ethics, But whatever the fuck you want to run out of your garage, as long as you got some ethics, you know what I mean? You ain't poisoning nobody with runoff or nothing, dude. I don't care if you're licensed to grow weed. Shoot. That's stupid.
It should be like tomatoes. I will say this, and I've said this for
so many things should be
probably
like
close to a
tomatoes.
decade.
Tomatoes should be like
Be
tomatoes.
regulated somewhere in between caffeine and tomatoes.
More BLTs.
Throw them up. Let's go. I want
Caffeine, dude. Caffeine, man.
Chemists.
We all forget about the original tax, dude. The original fucking thing we went to
Tea?
tax war on,
Fucking England. I'll tell you what. I'm still pissed off about that.
And I mean, I don't want to get like tinfoil hatty, but it's weird because it was like the scripts flip so hard, and people think that it's right versus left, us versus each other for some reason, when really it's like, what'd you call it earlier, Fagoli? The deep state. It's not even the government, dude. It's whoever controls the government pulling all these strings, and we're all just like, oh, I hate my neighbor because my neighbor does this. It's like, dude, your neighbor's just trying to survive just like you. Who cares that they have a different colored sign on their front yard than you do?
Go have a conversation.
Who cares?
There.
Pinocchio.
Who cares if their hair is a different color than yours? I got fucking piercings all the fucking over my place. I don't fucking care who's got what, dude.
Where's your favorite piercing?
My favorite piercing?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a favorite piercing. I'd say the
You
favorite.
have to come up with a favorite piercing.
My tragus was a weird one because it felt like I got hit and it felt like I got punched for like 3 weeks. It was like my jaw was all messed up for a really long time.
That's your favorite?
No, it's not my favorite. That was the most interesting one.
Oh.
Yeah, hair's too long, Red. That's it. I know, yeah. But not to get political, but everything's become political. And it's just like, it doesn't need to be. We can talk, we can have conversations about glyphosate and it not immediately have to refer to RFK. And I'm cool with the dude wanting to go. I'm cool that the dude went after Roundup. I think that's a great. I don't know why most people don't think that that's a great thing. It's a great thing, dude. Well,
he
litigated the shit. He has been. My only thing about it is he has not talked about it since. Right. I wish he would talk more about that. He's kind of gone quiet on the whole Roundup litigation shit. So I want some more of that information out. It'd be cool. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, man.
Brad, can you give a quick shout out to what's happening this coming Saturday? I think it's Saturday.
We're at the Third Eye Craft Affair. Saturday's the Third Eye Craft Affair. Is it Saturday?
It is Saturday, March 22nd in Lansing.
Friday, I turn 40.
Woo-wee, baby. Happy birthday, bro.
I become 40 on Friday. So there's a scary thing. I'm at the end of my 40th year here.
Well,
Entering the old.
We got another decade to be scared. Stop it.
I guess so. Am I at the hill yet? Is the hill 40? Or
No, it's 50.
50?
At least 50.
Yeah, we keep bumping that shit back like the THC.
Shut up. I'm turning 50 this year.
Hell yeah.
That's 50 because you got to live to at least 100. So the middle of that is 50.
Remember when Over the Hill was 30%? It's 40% now.
Well, and speaking of 50s, shout out to Superior Buds. His birthday was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Shout
out Superior.
And he turned 50. So.
Oh,
There you go.
Happy birthday.
Shout out to
Happy birthday.
Hey, everybody.
Make sure you find us next week, the Sunday Michigan Bros Grow Show, and definitely come check us out at the Third Eye Craft Fair this coming Saturday, March 22nd. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, first week of April, Hash Bash. Don't forget about Hash Bash.
Ooh, it's coming. It's coming so quick.
We had Hash Bash this year.
We're gonna be at the God, I don't know what it's called right now. Fuck, we're gonna be in Muskegon on the 29th. Country
That's the
Roots.
smoke out thing. Is that what you
Country
want
Roots Smokeout. Maybe that's what it's called. Country Roots. Chris from Country Roots. Hit him up on Instagram if you don't know where that is going to be at. But he's having an event on the west side of the state in Muskegon on the 29th. And we plan to be at that. Well, I plan to be there. Becca's going to be chilling out here at that.
I'm hoping to be there too. I
Fun
finished
one.
up my other second job here next weekend, so I'm going to have a lot of freedom back. So
Sweet. It'd be cool to see you
Nice.
there, Tara.
Nice.
Yeah.
No,
and then-
Chuck D's Dogs is looking to go out there too, so maybe you guys see.
oh, yeah, he
Evan.
was saying he was probably going to be there. Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Good old
it'd be Craft Affair, then the Smokeout, then Hash Bash, and then another Craft Affair on the 19th of April to celebrate 420 back up in Lansing.
I am going to be at that one too.
And that'll take us up.
I am
into
definitely
420.
getting back in things again.
Hell
Cheers,
yeah, guys.
everybody. Have a great week.
Sweet.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all. We'll
See you all
next
at the
week.
Smoke Sesh, guys. Later.